the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Counselor McHugh?
I'm here.
Counselor Kimpe?
Here.
Counselor Smith?
Present.
Counselor Jones?
Here.
Counselor Pagano?
Here.
Counselor Simchak?
Present.
Thank you everyone for coming to our special meeting tonight regarding our DRI. Do you want to get right into discussion, or should we have Steve speak and present? How does council want to do this?
Whatever works.
Steve, go first. Are we gonna, you wanna go through the agenda? Okay. Do some discussion with it, yeah. Alright, so, yeah, go ahead, Sandy.
No, you're good. Item number 1, approve the revised 30% design submission for the Veterans Memorial Park DRI project and authorize advancement to the final design. There's several handouts over there on the table for anybody in the audience. If there's not any left, I can make one for you. It's also on the city website, all of this.
Motion.
Second.
Alright, any discussion?
Is this when Steve's gonna present it?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep. So, Steve, you want to come on up? Grab the podium over here.
Alright, good evening.
Good evening.
Alright, so I have a paper slide presentation that's again in your material. Also in your material is the master evidence timeline, the final source documentation, as well as kind of a smaller, less encumbered what was approved, what changed, and why with the Veterans Memorial Park, since that's such a hot button issue. Alright, so slide 1. Good evening. I'm going to keep this pretty short. Back in March, I gave the council a much more detailed DRI update that went through every project. Since then, I've also continued putting DRI updates in my monthly reports. So I don't want to spend time tonight going through the information you already have. That's a waste of my time, yours, and the public. What I really want to do is give a quick update on where things sit today, what has changed since March, and what we need to do to keep moving forward. Slide 2. What has changed since March? A few things have changed since March. Veterans Park has gone through a lot of work, and now we have a 30% design that fits within the DRI award. The Devereaux and Lehrman projects are no longer moving forward the way they were originally planned. And streetscape and soccer fields are both still moving, but outside funding is going to affect what we ultimately are able to do. The rest of the DRI projects are continuing to move along. Slide 3. Projects at a glance. This slide is just really a quick snapshot of the whole DRI. The projects are all in very different phases right now. Some are moving into construction, some are still in design, some are grant programs that are already helping businesses. And we now have a couple of projects that need to be reworked with the state. That's pretty normal with a program this large, especially when projects take several years from the original application to construction. Slide 4, streetscape and soccer fields. For streetscape, we're still waiting on some outside funding we've applied for. Because of that, we've been trying to be very careful about how far we move the design forward. We don't want to pay for design or design something and then turn around and have to redesign it and pay more money. For the soccer fields, the $900,000 NPR grant that we applied for earlier this year was not awarded. And I did another $200,000 grant application through the New York Kicks program for supplemental funding for the soccer fields. So both projects are still very much alive, and we're just trying to make sure the final design matches the money we actually have. Slide 5, Hotel Oneida and the Business Assistance Fund. Hotel Oneida is still moving forward. A lot of the interior demolition has been done, and we continue to stay in contact with the project team as they work through the next steps. The business assistance fund is moving as well. Some of those projects are done, some are under construction, and some are still working through changes on paperwork. I give you guys updates on each one every month. There's also a lot going on behind the scenes with both of those, but the important thing is council, public need to know they're all moving forward. Slide 6, comprehensive plan and form-based code. The comprehensive plan and form-based code projects are also underway. We have committee in place, the consultants are working, and we started the community work that will go into both of those documents. This one's a little different from the construction projects because there isn't a building or a park to point to. But it's important because it's gonna help guide how Oneida grows and what our development is gonna look like and what kind of changes we want to encourage over the next several years. Devereaux and Laramie, slide 7. This is probably the biggest change to the overall DRI since March. Devereaux and Laramie are no longer moving forward as they were initially awarded. The money doesn't just automatically move somewhere else, and we don't get to simply pick a project to put it on. So just make that very clear. We're working with the Department of State on what happens now. They have a process, so we're waiting for them on some rulings with it. Higginbotham Park and Callett Theater were two of the original projects on the strategic investment plan. Those are what initially is, we think the state is going to move on and ask that those projects be funded first before anything else happens. But until the state tells us exactly how they want to handle it, I don't want to tell council or the public anything that I don't have complete information on. Slide 8, Veterans Memorial Park. For Vets Park, we now have a 30% design that fits within the DRI award. The current working number is $1,058,696, and the DRI award is $1,059,000, saving us $304. That includes the splash pad, the court work, the reduced bathhouse work, and the veteran memorial. The F-16 is separate. The aircraft itself, moving it, mounting it, the special foundation, crane work, and all other costs tied directly to the aircraft are not being paid with DRI money. Not being paid with DRI money. And I want to keep saying this because it matters. This is still a 30% design. We are not approving a construction contract tonight. Slide 9, what does 30% mean? I think this is one of the biggest things that has gotten confused during this whole discussion. A 30% design is still an early design. A yes vote tells us and tells CNS that this is the direction council wants us to keep working from. It does not approve the old 1.7 million estimate. It does not award a construction contract. It does not pay for an F-16, and it does not mean the project can never change again. There are still final designs, state review, bidding, another round of discussion before anything else is built. Slide 10, where do we go from here? From here, the different DRI projects are going to keep moving on different tracks. Some need more design work, some need state approval. Some are waiting on grant decisions, some are already being built or implemented. My job is to keep all of that moving. And it's moving on different tracks. Keep the state and the consultants coordinated, keep the council updated, and bring things back when council actually needs to make a decision. That's really where we are today. Now, this is the end of my DRI updates. I have more slides and I have more things that will dig into the whole Vets Park thing. But I think I've given this council, the city, and the community more than enough information on what actual facts are out there and what has been put out as misinformation. I'm happy to go round and round with this stuff over the next 4 or 5 slides, but I think it's in the city's best interest to move forward with a vote unless there are big issues or concerns.
Agreed.
Just had questions,
Yes.
sorry. If, and I didn't know if Luke was gonna get up to talk a little bit about, you know, I know some of the projects had shifted since we started, right? And some things had to come out, and I had families reach out with, some of the Pop Warner families specifically that were just concerned about the bathrooms. And I know we don't have, it's not in this project now. Can that get added in the future, or if not for this, can we think about beyond the DRI, like focusing on just repairing a couple of the toilets for families? The feedback I got from the Pop Warner family is that like when you have a game of 75 people, to have the one porta potty, it just gets really challenging, and for the players. So just specifically the bathrooms.
I mean, it sounds reasonable. It might be something you guys want to put in next year's budget.
Yeah.
Just to clarify too, in the original scope of work, we gotta be careful because there was 2 distinct elements. There was a bathroom, which is attached to the playing field with the Pop Warner side, and the bathhouse connected to the pool.
Right.
So the original scope of work only had the bathhouse connected to the pool, not funding attached to the bathroom. My original understanding was it was everything. That was incorrect. It was not
Gotcha.
an original bathroom. It was only the bathhouse.
Oh.
So original design that we had in discussions with Victor, we had targeted a design to fix that whole thing. Part of that was, you know, we didn't have any turnover with any of the stuff when we came in, so we didn't know what was and where things were landing. So when we got the original scope of work, like I understand now, the bathhouse is the designated DRI money, and the bathrooms is a separate activity altogether.
Thank
I
you.
mean,
think that was
there's
where
a
the
lot of wish
confusion
lists.
was.
Yeah, yeah, totally, thank you. Okay. Gotcha.
And Victor came all the way from Buffalo tonight to be here from CNS, so just
Oh, hi Victor, nice to meet you.
appreciate
Yes, if
their.
you have any technical questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thought your email was very helpful that you gave us with the answers, so thank you.
Anything else? All right, well, thank you.
I think, nice job.
All right, any other discussion?
Do we wanna clarify further about the $1.7 million estimate, because I think that probably deserves, you know, a 30-second quick discussion. So that came from our wish list of items. Back in August, when we walked the field, the bathrooms were in there with the bathhouse. We had everything top shelf that we had designed in that, which is where the 1.7 came from. Obviously, that initial design was not where we needed to be, and we had to go back and revise the scope, inputs from council as well to say, hey, we gotta get back closer to the mark. That's where we went back to the drawing board and did the redesign for the new 30% design, which is what is currently in the packet. So the one that's in the packet currently is the 30% design that was done with the input from council, as well as the recommendations from the engineering team, with a firm eye towards the financial considerations. So it's within scope and cost right now, with those considerations all paramount to what we're going to do. I just wanted to briefly just discuss why that number went up to 1.7, and then why it's back down to 1.058.
Was there any movement on reaching out to Gorman or Chapman for donation to the splash pad or anything like that?
Well, I emailed them
Okay.
for a discussion. I haven't heard a response, but we did reach out to them and ask them if they had any. I think they're out of Connecticut, is where the nonprofit is actually now, where the family's over there, but it's out of state. But I did reach out with an email asking specifically if there was any interest in continuing funding or additional money that they would like to, you know, put towards our pool.
I'm pretty sure the Chapman Foundation has a rolling application, there's no deadline, so we could just submit an application. I think I sent you the information in June.
Yeah, the one you sent, that was not the link though to the application.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was their website.
Yeah. It was just their 501(c)(3).
I can find the link to the application if you want me to.
If you have an application like that, we'd be more than happy to look at it, to apply for any additional funding. You know, I think this too, just to mention this, we have grants that we are working on for this as well, because we do want additional funding for this. Those grants come in annual cycles through the annual appropriation, so we don't know exactly what we're gonna be getting, but applying for the SWIMS grant, you know, that's essential to this, to see how much money we can get. If we can get more, we can do more. Same with the AYSO fields. We applied for the KICS grant, and that was, again, thank you, Councilwoman McHugh. That was actually a really nice suggestion. He was like, oh, that works out great. And when we reached out to our state partners about it, Alyssa, who's been great to work with, she really, you know, thumped the table, and she's like, the KICS program, right? So I think we might have a little success there, so hopefully there's some more, but we are actively pursuing these grants very aggressively because we want to get as much money as we can. That annual appropriation cycle puts us a little bit behind, but we're hopeful that what we've submitted will come back. So that's where we're standing with the grants right now.
One more question. and then-
Yes.
To do some of these projects, do we have to match and put up any money? Does the city have to have money to put up to start construction on any of these? Once
Not-
we get them through the process?
Not to start construction. We did have a match, a 20% match originally. The original scope of work specifically called out ARPA funding. ARPA funding's
Gone.
before my time, it's whatever happened to it, so there's no more commitment from the city. You know, that being said, you know, we went back and designed it underneath the 1.059, just so trying to capture everything
So
that's.
we wouldn't be held back because we don't have anything to set up or match at this point?
Correct.
Yay.
Correct.
Okay.
I've also been talking to a couple local businesses, because obviously the bathrooms are important to all of us down there. I would be trying my hardest to try to get that funded in any way possible.
At the field.
Yeah,
Even if it's funded
Bathrooms.
separately done together to save money.
correct. I had a local business reach out asking about doing a city luncheon for all the employees, and I'm like, that's a great idea, but also you could use some money for.
I'll deal
So
with-
sorry, I
I'll
can,
do
yeah, we'll
luncheon.
get you guys some lunch.
Yeah.
Any other discussion?
Mayor? Can I ask? No?
With this special meeting, we're trying not to, we didn't have public comment today, we're not gonna have anything from the audience. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sandy? Oh, all in favor, it's me. All in favor?
Aye.
Any noes, any abstentions? Motion's passed.
Item number 2, receive and place on file the mayor's written objections pursuant to section 3.7B of the city charter. Receive and place on file objections from Mayor Rossi to resolution 26-113 on August 4th, 2026 pursuant to section 3.7 of the Oneida City Charter pertaining to budget transfer. This is just to receive and place on file his comments.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
So is there no discussion for this one?
This is just to place it on file, not to.
I get that, but
Oh,
you're saying
right.
it's for 3.7B of the charter that has to do with a past resolution, that resolution failed.
So it's not the veto authority. Nadine explained this to me, and she will not be here tonight. I spoke with her this morning. It's a separate authority under 3.7. So not the veto authority, which is A, but B,
Right, that
which
is, I
is putting
quoted,
it back on the agenda for a revote.
I quoted from B, every resolution or ordinance passed by the common council. And then it goes on to say what they can do, which would be put it back on. I've got no objection to have it back on. I'm just stating that the way the agenda reads, it's citing something that you can't cite for that.
I just want you to know, I did go through Nadine. Nadine went through this whole thing with me, put the resolution together, put it on the agenda, so.
And I asked when Nate brought that up, that he said he'd received legal advice elsewhere and.
Well, I spoke to Peter about it here.
Oh, okay, well, that's why I asked you, and you didn't, if you had any relevant information to share with us, I would've loved to have read it.
Just voicing my objection, that's all.
So procedurally, you can't
No?
bounce back something unless it was.
Like I said, I've got
addressed.
nothing against
Yeah.
revoting on it, but to have a written objection, right?
This isn't a veto, this is just a written opinion.
I get it.
Can I ask, do you still have the veto power, or
Mhm.
just want, even though you vote with the council, you have veto power?
Mhm.
I wasn't sure, that's all.
It's interesting, cause like, it's hard to have the executive and the legislative branch occurring in the same realm,
Yeah.
which is kind of interesting. And I just wonder if maybe that was an oversight just when we were, drafting the referendum and the language when we moved to a city manager form of government, you know what I mean? That
Sure.
maybe, cause this also kinda came up last year with the tax cap override, right? It got to be a hiccup because 2/3 of 7 is confusing, you know,
It might be a conversation
for another day.
meeting. Let's.
No, sure, sure.
Okay.
Yep.
But it probably a good topic someday.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any noes, any abstentions?
No.
I'm gonna go no too.
So that was Nate and Lynn.
Yes.
Item number 3, reconsideration of 26-113. Approve the budget transfers and amendments as set forth in resolution 26-113, originally considered and rejected on August 4th, 2026. I was going to do this as a roll call vote, if you don't mind, just because last time it was hard for me to determine who was saying what, so.
Motion?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I move to amend the resolution 26-113 by changing the set amount to 40,000.
I second.
I think it's a good compromise. I think I talked to Kyle about it. I mean, I didn't get a chance to talk to you about it, but
just think we're pretty much doing a runaround, because any unused balances go back into the general fund. So we're talking about kids' baseball, Halloween parties you wanna cut, everything to do with kids. And
None of us agreed to that.
I'm just saying, those are the lines you're trying to pick from, correct?
Well,
And that's the only options that we're
It's
given at
not
this
our,
point.
it's not our place to pick the lines, we're just trying to
It definitely is your
identify-
place when you don't do a budget transfer. It is your place to tell us where are we gonna take that money to pay for gas for our employees.
That's our job.
That's our job.
I think
Literally
the
is our
thought
job.
process was to let Leanne and Kyle determine
To give
if there
them
were
time.
unused,
And they did,
non-essential
and you
funds.
guys disagreed with them.
And they said
No,
there really wasn't
Leanne
any.
couldn't-
Leanne said she couldn't find any, and then you guys said, look again. And she said, I still can't find any. You guys said, look again.
Within 1640, you can only transfer internally, and
Right.
I get what you're saying.
Otherwise, any money can be moved anywhere
With a
by
resolution.
resolution.
Which-
That's what we were hoping you guys could identify. Was
Yes.
that what she
So when
couldn't find?
the way I understood it was to look at the budget as it is, and if there's money available to be moved into that gas line, then I could move that money into the gas line. Which is
Right.
what I thought, so, but I can only do that within the confines of 1640. But I can't go like water department and I can't.
Right.
Not water department, but
water.
everything
Kids
else.
candy, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I can't do that, but I mean, I'm happy to put forward any budget amendments or transfers, you guys.
I'll sit down with Leanne and go through it with her, because I identified 60 lines that halfway through the year had more, okay, sorry.
Whoa.
Again, though, like, there are a lot of things that don't get used until the end of the year, and like, again, like, you put music and vendors in there as well as one of the other lines. We have Fall Fest coming up, like, a lot of these things don't get used till the end of the year. And again, if we don't use them, they go back into the general fund, right back where we're trying to take that out of. And again, I don't wanna have our employees coming back and forth to us to beg for gas, because they are gonna run out.
That brings up a good question. Why did we let the tanks practically get dry within 6 days of dry before asking to move money? We could have been doing this already.
Again, the tank's not big enough, we talked about that last time.
But we could
So
see
the
clip
tank can go
on it.
dry all day, it doesn't really matter.
Can I?
But, yeah, go
I
ahead.
will take this, I'm sorry. Because we never expected them not to accept this general fund transfer. This is how the government has worked since long as I've been a part of it, as long as I've lived in Oneida. When there's an emergency and we have to transfer from the general fund, that's what we do. The reason we weren't, the reason,
Hey, excuse me, quiet please.
the reason we weren't ordering them to conserve fuel and stuff, because at least I as a council, was given no heads up whatsoever that we were gonna.
That's another great point I was gonna mention. Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you good?
In December, every department head, and probably most employees knew, they got a fraction of their requested budget. So conservation on all spending should have been enacted in December. And just one other thing I noticed in Leanne's last monthly report, 81 of our budget lines were already below 50% halfway through the year. So this is gonna keep happening for the next 5 months, and the general fund, we know we can't let it drop below, we shouldn't let it drop below 15. If it drops below 10, the state's in here.
If those lines are not used, then they go right back into the general fund at the end of the year, so we're doing good.
Again, we're halfway through the year and we're at 50% utilization, so we're on target.
81 lines are below 50%, there's less than 50% less, like I'm talking 30%, 14%.
And some of those lines might be seasonal.
Correct.
Right.
We don't
And
know
Leanne
until
will
the
be
end
the,
of the year.
well-
That's not, or you can try to pick and choose and.
I would love to
figure out.
have more money from the council. I'll certainly be requesting it, but it was a very difficult season last year, and
Gas is up $1 year to date, over $1 year to date, diesel's up almost $2 year to date. It happens, you budget
Yeah,
low,
you get it.
and then
Yeah.
it happens.
the,
that.
We requested
Two.
60% above what you were budgeted, though. I don't think the gas inflation would make up for that.
I agree, I think it's,
It's-
we were beholden to the last council. To get to that 5%,
Right.
there was nothing we could do. Essentially, whatever they wanted, they said, this is what you have to do to get us
Yeah.
to 5%.
I get it.
Which is what we did. You're right, it is under budgeted, it should be higher, you know, that, completely agree with you, you know. We were one disaster away from, you know, all this financial issues with the gas, and lo and behold, we go to war with Iran, you know, which I consider to be a disaster, and look what happened, so it definitely impacted us negatively, more than we could foresee, anyway.
Yeah.
We did build a cost increase into the last budget for gas and diesel, but again, that increase was rejected
Yep.
for lower lines because we had to get it to a certain percentage, working with the council.
I think it's a fair compromise, just to give you some time to look over, right, what David asked from the last meeting. And I mean, if you can't find anything, right, it's bare bones, and you need more
Then we'll
fuel,
do it again.
come back.
Yeah, well,
Or you could skip that whole step and we transfer the whole thing and the rest of the money goes back into the general fund the same way it always.
I think too, I think Luke's here too, I don't know if everybody even understands what we're talking about when we say the suggested things that we're cutting and things like that, I don't know, that was only in an email. They were talking about cutting things like, I believe, the Christmas extravaganza, the Halloween party, there's like $1,000, Luke's here, I didn't feel comfortable even with that until we at least talked to the departments that were.
Even the last council kept that in the budget. I'm
I'm
gonna say that.
$1,000 in candy is not gonna solve any type of fuel issue.
This, I know operationally, I don't envy you. Operationally, this is really challenging to look at how we do things as a city, and that the way we've done things to this point, we've gotten here, so we know something has to be different. And you're an expert on knowing how cities function, how to build these systems, and efficiency, you know, all those things. And so I would defer to your expertise to know, can we change the way we do things to cut costs? So not concretely cutting out, no one's saying cutting out children's happiness here, like, just to, you're creative,
Yeah.
and you have a lot of experience. So maybe there's something operationally we can shift,
Absolutely.
you know, and I think that's what I'm envisioning here, not just slashing lines, but is there a way we can do things differently to maybe save some money? That's what I'm thinking.
Absolutely, and those are the right questions, right? And looking at our operations and how we do things, the gas savings restriction that I put in place last week. Did you folks have a chance to look at the tracker that I built?
Yes.
That was a
Yeah.
pain in the butt, but,
It was great.
Yeah.
or every week, every Thursday, I'm gonna get a gas report, so I'm gonna have to generate it to me. So I have a targeted goal of a 20% reduction across all my departments. That's a little aggressive, but I want them to get as close to that as possible. You know, if we do that, we'll be way under the 40,000.
Yeah.
So that's my goal, right? Even with having to compromise and getting some money in place, I will continue to keep the gas restrictions in place to the end of the year, maybe even beyond if we have to, depending on how things are going. Because, and I say to all my department heads, even if we get money in that line, and it's an if, I want to see money put back, right? That's what I want to see. And that's my directive to them. Because if you just spend down, you have to answer to me why you're doing that. You shouldn't just be spending down the line, just for the sake of it. I refuse to accept that. You know, I need a justification as to why. So we're looking at ways that we can push back against a lot of the spending. To Councilwoman Jones' earlier point, you know, $1.6 million last year was too much. This year, we're at about 273K, which is over an 80%, almost an 81% reduction in general fund spending. That is thanks to the discipline, the fiscal discipline of my department heads, monitoring everything, working with Leanne, working with Jessica, getting all of our ducks in a row. It's a testament to the fact that we recognize that last year is not a sustainable practice, period. We can't rob our savings bank anymore to continue to kick the can down the road. Unfortunately, as I think we all understand, we have some tough discussions to have, and we gotta make some tough decisions. And I think that's just the reality right now. So I am more than willing to look at anything and review anything, look at process improvement, how we can get ourselves to much more effective operations. There certainly is a lot we can do right now. I'm looking at my DPW that we can do, but that stuff takes time. You know, it takes time, and I think as we begin some of these directives and more austerity measures, we'll see the dividends pay off down the road in 5-6 months. And again, you know, back to the fuel tracker, right? 30 days from now, we're gonna know if the policy is helping and how much it's helping. So my hope is we continue to go in these directions. So it's not just us saying, okay, it's a crisis right now, how do we fix it right now? It's us saying, we have a structural issue. It's a structural issue in the organization. We need to correct it, and it's gonna be a multifaceted approach. It's not one thing. It's not just raising taxes. It's not just cutting services. It's not just cutting positions. It's doing all those things in a way that makes sense, if it makes sense, that provides real benefit back to the city. So it's a much more holistic approach, and that's kind of what I'm looking at. And certainly right now, with the budget season underway, we're working through a lot of our departments and through those budgets right now to identify what is the absolute need, you know? And last year, yeah, we were very austere, and I think, you know, the department heads were, you know, not thrilled, but it's gonna be a lot more the same again this year, and I'm just very honest with them, so. And I say it here, and they hear me out there, and it's what I tell them every day, so. We have to make these decisions, and we have to get a rein on this, and even the spending, you know, again, we're looking at our spending, but next year, maybe we can rein in it even more. Maybe there's a chance to further go down, so. I am more than willing to engage in those discussions and, you know, give my recommendations and suggestions. I've already put out some, you know, feelers and some emails originally with some of my general fund ideas, and I call them my hammock thoughts, right? Something will just come to me, and I'm like, oh, I gotta write that down and share it with council. So any of those ideas that I bring up or approaches, if one of those, you know, speaks to you, you're like, hey, that's a good idea, by all means, you know, shoot me an email, let me know, hey Kyle, I think you're onto something here, and we could flesh it out.
I would say anything you think is a good idea, do it.
We're
Just do it, you don't need our approval.
definitely begun, so.
It looks like, you did get a chance, I guess, it looks like Peter agrees, that we should, so, I'm not sure if that came up, but it looks like he wants to pay the whole thing.
That's great.
So are we gonna vote on the amendment?
Okay, so, all right, so in lieu of Nadine being here, I'm gonna wing it, because Nate motioned to amend it, and it was seconded by Lynn.
Yes.
Unfortunately, because there's two budget items, you can't just throw out a figure of $40,000, I have to have the separation.
Oh.
Okay, so propose the amendment and
The
then
proposed amendment, so you can do the 40,000, but you have to allocate it to each one of those lines, because right now there's two lines,
Okay.
if that makes sense, and then you
Sure.
vote on that.
Sure.
And if you decide you want to do the amended one, then that's a regular vote.
Sure.
If you decide, no, we don't wanna do the amended one, we're just gonna go for it, then we'll go back to the roll call vote.
Sure.
So first I need to know
So,
how you wanna split up the 40,000.
2020.
2020?
do you want,
And just for point of clarification, you can transfer between the gas and
Mhm.
diesel because it's in the same
Correct,
line?
correct.
So you
Oh, okay.
can
Yep,
take care of
Yeah, I
that.
just have
Between
to,
60
I
and
have
40.
to write it the way Leanne has it
Yeah,
presented,
sure.
so,
Okay.
just for everybody's happiness.
Can I just ask what Rick's opinion is on this?
I'm voting no for it. I want.
No, I didn't ask for that.
Well, I think everyone kind of gets my opinion. Again, we are literally just doing things in a circle. If the money line, if we don't spend the money in those lines, they go back in the general fund anyway. Why not just give our employees the gas now, instead of having them fight for it?
And I keep asking, and I asked, I don't know how many times to let, what is the plan if we run out of gas before we?
And there's a
There's a
natural
storm, yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I was nervous as heck listening to that thunder Sunday night going off, thinking, we got gas for these generators, if the towers loses power, if there's all these old
Well,
folks with the air conditioning, if
I
it's
would
100 degrees
assume-
tomorrow.
I'm sorry, I would assume that now that Kyle's tracking it, he'll know.
Oh, now, I'm talking about
$60.
right now, tomorrow. If we leave here tonight, a tornado hits and we lose power, do we have enough gas to keep going?
so I'll clarify this.
And what
We
is the
actually-
plan if we go to zero in gas and there's, if these guys get if God forbid a fire goes out and they don't have enough gas to pull a fire truck out of the thing, what is our plan?
You got 40,000 given to you and you run out the next day, I think there's bigger problems about how you're.
We're not gonna
treating
pass
this.
another 40,000 next day, it's
Right,
at least
it's a
until the
two-
next meeting,
and
so
it's
it's
a-
not a
it's a
day.
two-week
You should
process
see the
as
end
well.
coming up though, it's not like all of a sudden you go through 40,000.
But again, we don't
Again,
have,
there's
we
called
don't have
natural
an answer for
disasters
the end
and-
right now. So it doesn't really matter, you know, we don't have an
And
answer. You got lines in here that are
We still haven't heard from Luke.
adult softball, Halloween party, Halloween extravaganza.
Right.
Playground mulch, youth baseball contracts, concert and entertainment contracts. These are the lines we're trying to pull out.
Well,
Do you guys wanna see that going?
Softball was already canceled, that was in the last.
You're
month or-
correct, they didn't have enough people. But
Right.
that's also a revenue attached to it, so it's a wash.
Yes.
Yeah,
They
it's
pay
not
for it.
a,
We don't pay,
if we don't,
they pay for it.
there's a revenue on one side and
Yeah,
an expense on the other.
expense on the other side.
If we didn't have revenue, we didn't have the expenditure. If you pull that, now you've actually pulled
Now we're
money.
spending.
I get
That
it.
money didn't exist before.
We said last meeting, we cut this budget to the bone, there is nothing else to cut, so I'm just pointing out, there's these things on it, if we feel that that can't be cut, that is the bare bones, that's fine.
But there's a revenue on the other side that
That doesn't-
offsets that.
Right.
So it wasn't money we were taking out of general fund to begin with.
Right.
It was money that would have been revenue come in.
Yeah.
I get it.
I understand.
So
We're
if you
paying.
now try to take that
You're
expense
creating
line, now you've actually created money coming out of the budget, or out of the general fund,
No, we-
where it wasn't before.
We got it, I got it.
And if it's left over, where would it go to at the end of the year?
Back into the
Fun.
general fund.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, so we're just arguing about whether to fit in twenties or tens, it sounds like.
Can we just take a vote?
Yes.
Okay, so there's this voting on the motion to amend the budget transfers from 0912, separated 20,000 to each. One is going to gasoline at 0401 and one is going to diesel at 0402. That's 20,000 each. That's the amendment.
Correct.
Do we motion or no?
They already did.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
We do a roll call vote?
Oh,
Well, this one is on the amendment to do it
Right,
at the
So
40,000.
who said aye?
aye.
Okay, so there's, let's see, I'm gonna do it. All right, so Counselor McHugh,
Yes.
Counselor Kimby,
No.
Counselor Smith,
Yes.
Counselor Jones.
Yes. I mean, no, oh my gosh, I'm a no. Wait, for the 40? Holy crap, I'm a no. Yes. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Are you in favor of
I'm in
amending
favor
it
of
to
40 grand, not
40,000?
80.
All right,
So
yes.
sorry.
Okay, Counselor Pagano,
No.
Counselor Simchek,
No.
Mayor Rossi.
No.
Okay, so the amendment is a failure. Okay, now we're gonna go back to the original, right?
Mhm.
Did I have that right? Okay, to vote on it as it was, 26,113, to leave it with the figures as they are. Counselor McHugh,
No.
Counselor Kimby,
Yes.
Counselor Smith,
Yes.
Counselor Jones,
No.
Counselor Pagano,
Yes.
Counselor Simchek,
Yes.
Mayor Rossi.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you guys all for coming.
Do we need a motion?
Do we need a motion to adjourn?
I'm gonna stay for a little bit. If anybody's got questions about the DRI, they want updates, I'm gonna hang out and just talk to anyone who wants to talk. Alright.
Motion to adjourn?
Thank you all for coming. Yeah. Yep, motion to adjourn, yeah.
All in favor?